Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to talk about chopsticks. But first, check out my new t-shirts. The Very Hungry Caterpillar. And do you have also this? Did you guys read this book when you were little? I did. So, if you don't look Asian and have spent some time in Japan, you might have come across Japanese people who said, "Can you use chopsticks? Can you use chopsticks? Can you use chopsticks? Wow, you're really good at using chopsticks. Wow, you're really good at using chopsticks. Wow, 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 wow." Well, it's fine for the first couple of times, but by the time you get to a couple of hundred times, you are really sick of it. I know it's very annoying, but at the same time, as a Japanese, I kind of understand why they say that. Because using chopsticks is difficult. When Japanese children start eating by themselves, they first use their hands. And then when they are around 2, they start using spoons and forks. I think spoons are easier. And when they are around 3 or 4, they finally start practicing using chopsticks. But that's the tricky part. A lot of parents have a hard time teaching their children how to use chopsticks. If you Google it, you can easily find Japanese parents asking advice for how to teach their children how to use chopsticks. Sometimes it takes months or even a couple of years to master the skills. And I remember this, my cousin, he couldn't use chopsticks the right way. He had this very weird way of using chopsticks, and my mom was always commenting on it. And I have to tell you that I felt quite proud as a child that I was able to use chopsticks properly. Actually, I think I'm quite good at using chopsticks. Check this out. Look at this, I'm holding a grain of rice. Can you guys see it? Can you guys see it? Look at me now. Look at me now. Anyway. So I think for children, their hands are not fully developed, so I think it's more difficult for them to use chopsticks than for the grown-ups. And as you know, for Japanese people, they usually don't know what it's like to learn how to use chopsticks as an adult. So that's probably why many Japanese people still think that it's difficult to use, chopsticks, because they kind of subconsciously remember the time they had a hard time learning, using chopsticks. So, the next time when somebody compliments on your chopstick skills, ask them if they struggled as a child. Maybe you get to hear some interesting story. Anyway, so do you guys think it's difficult to use chopsticks, or is it easy for you guys? Let me know in the comment section. So Camila says, "I really don't see Fukuoka guys as macho. Maybe it's because I'm from Brazil, and to me, almost all Japanese people are polite, sweet, and kind." Yeah, I don't think you get to see a lot of very stereotypical Kyushu guys. It's just stereotypes, and I'm pretty sure many Brazilian people are polite, sweet, and kind. Actually, I remember being in São Paulo and I was looking for my hostel. I got off the bus, but I didn't know where to go, and this Brazilian woman saw me and she offered me her help. And it was a very interesting experience because I didn't ask her to help me, but she just saw me that I was lost and she just talked to me. And not necessarily that I was a foreigner, because São Paulo, around that area, there are many Japanese Brazilian people, so I could totally blend in, and I didn't think she thought I was a foreigner. And of course she just talked to me in Portuguese. Yeah, I can actually say a lot of things about Brazil, because Brazil and Japan, we have a very close relationship for more than 100 years because of the massive amount of Japanese immigrants. Actually, the third largest foreign population in Japan is Brazilians, and many of them are Nikkei, Japanese descendants. So it's not always easy to tell that they are actually Brazilian, but I've known a lot of them. Okay, Vanessa asked me, Do you have a couple really good Japanese novels you can recommend? Please nothing by Murakami-san or Yoshimoto Banana-san, because I've already been recommended some books by those authors. Yeah, Japanese literature, that's also a very interesting subject. I recommended Twinkle Twinkle by Kaori Ekuni. Obviously, Japanese literature is much more than Haruki Murakami or other more classical, authors. But it's just so interesting that Murakami is so popular around the world. Many people mention his name, when they learn that I'm from Japan. And in Japan too, he's very popular. And there are people who read every single book of his, and they kind of read them over and over again. And you know what we call them? We call them Harukisto. Haruki is somebody who is really into Haruki Murakami. But does it represent the general trend of Japanese literature? Probably not. But still, I think his characters are quite Japanese. There was somebody who asked me, if his characters are very Japanese in their thinking, because she was kind of like puzzled by some of his characters' behavior. But I would say Japan is quite... You can find a lot of different kinds of novels in Japan. I consider Japan reading nation. Like everybody loves reading and also writing. And Eric says, what about the stereotype of people from Hokkaido? Well, I don't really know stereotypes of people from Hokkaido. Japan has 47 prefectures, and not every prefecture has its own strong stereotypes. Well, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but people simply don't think a lot about prefectures other than a few famous ones. So if you ask me what I think of people from Toyama, for example, I really don't have any idea. But I know what people say about women from Akita. There is a word, Akita Bijin, and that means a beautiful woman from Akita, and they are considered quite beautiful. And one of the reasons why they are considered beautiful is that their skins tend to be white, because Asian people seem to have this fixation of white skins, which I don't really share. But kind of whitening cosmetic products are widely popular in Japan. Everybody, Rachel is in the house. I don't know, I just wanted to say that. But she's probably the most subscribed JVloggers around. Oh, I have a question for you guys. Who are your favorite YouTubers, or maybe, JVloggers in general? I'm curious. But yeah, I think most of you guys already subscribed to Rachel and Jim. I'm actually thinking of, because I started my podcast channel, and I want to interview many people, and Rachel and Jun are definitely one of the people I would love to interview. And I'm actually quite interested in Jun, because on their YouTube channel we don't get to hear from Jun a lot, so I'm quite curious about what kind of person he is, or what he thinks about many different things. So that might be interesting. Okay, if you are still listening, maybe you should check out my podcast channel, because I think you will like it. And my favorite way of eating food. I love using my hand, and it all started when I went to India, because I clearly remember the first day in India I ordered some curry, and there wasn't any forks, knives or anything, so I just had this plate in front of me without anything. And then I realized, oh, I'm in India, I'm supposed to use my right hand. You know what, that is probably the one of the best ways of eating food, because spoons and forks, they don't taste good. I mean, ultimately it depends on the material. I don't really like the kind of the tastes that like kind of steel like tastes that they have. And chopsticks are better because they're usually wooden. But then I think I also like the kind of like the sensation that the human hands have. So food kind of tastes better when you use hands. Alright, I guess that's it for today, and see you guys later. Ciao ciao!